Destination Newry, it's the morning programme. Good morning, Newry, and morning the world. That, guys, is literally what it is. I've got with me Leonard Anderson, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
And I've Ian Davison from the Banbridge Musical Society.
Yes.
I have to admit, through my fault, through my own most grievous fault, I never knew anything about the Banbridge Musical Society. How long were you in existence, Ian?
We celebrated our 70th year last year.
Yes.
Started in 1943 as Banbridge Choral Society,
Yes.
where they sang mostly choral pieces like Handel's Messiah. They then moved into light, Gilbert and Sullivan light operettas. We then evolved into Banbridge Musical Society in about the year 2000.
Yeah, isn't it funny that Banbridge Choral Society has a more familiar ring to it? Isn't that strange?
It
and
does.
yet you're 14 years as the Musical Society. But the
That's
Choral
true.
Society seems to ring with me. And the kind of things you've been doing over the years.
Well, I've only been involved this past, 3 years.
3 years is a pretty good provenance.
For
That's all right.
directing and choreographing
Yeah.
for them. So I first started, I think, with a concert.
Yeah.
And that was, unfortunately, that had to be in Portadown Town Hall. And then after that, it was Fiddler in the Roof.
Oh, I love Fiddler in the
Fiddler in the
Roof.
Roof. It's a super show,
Yeah.
and they did a wonderful job. And Rosemary Kelly, actually, who played Golda, got nominated for Best Actress
Yes.
in the Association of Irish Musical Societies. So that was a really lovely show.
Yeah.
And then we followed that up with, obviously, pantomimes.
Yeah.
And the last one I did for them was Me and My Girl, which is another terrific show and a very fun show.
You folk, you really, you love this. This is like a disease.
Yes.
It's like a religion. It's a way of life for you.
Oh, it certainly
And it's
is.
the same with the guys in Newry and girls in Newry who do it. It's constancy of effort. It's a total
Yes.
commitment. And
Well, people do it because they enjoy it. If you didn't
Yeah,
enjoy it, you
yeah.
couldn't do it really.
Yeah.
And I suppose in some ways we're lucky because we get to do it. I mean, I certainly couldn't complain about the job I have directing
Yeah.
and choreographing. I mean, there are lots of people who have horrible jobs or think they have horrible
Do
jobs.
they-
I don't.
I have to ask you, Leonard, do they love you? Or are you a tough heart?
Oh, I don't-
Do
well-
you give them a rough time?
I don't think I'm too bad, actually.
What do they think?
I'm not sure because they never tell me, Rowan.
Ian,
No, they never
what's
tell
he
me.
like? What's he like?
Well, now, would be quite tough, but in
Oh,
a gentle way. Gets,
yeah.
gets what he wants.
Gets what he
Let's
wants.
put it like that.
Ian, your role in the society, what is it?
I'm on the committee. I'm publicity officer
Yeah.
for the committee and have been for a couple
Wonderful.
of years.
Well, you, as publicity officer, I formally extend to you an invitation to come here more and more often.
We
You're
certainly
very
will,
welcome,
Ronan.
and it'll be good fun to have you here. But do you participate in the productions at all?
I do. I have been a member for about 20 years now,
Yeah.
and I've played various roles over the years. My favourite being Sir Evelyn Oakley from
Anything Goes.
Anything
Anything
Goes,
Goes,
for which I was
yeah.
nominated for Best Comedian
Wow.
by Ames.
Are you a comedian?
Yes, I
You're
would tend
playing-
to play
yeah,
more
Yeah.
comedic roles, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've never done anything like that in the entirety of my life. And
Really?
Never, ever.
Not even
And
in school.
I didn't go to school. I got out over the wall very early. I escaped into the Navy and travelled the world.
Oh, did you?
So I ran away. You know, so I
Ran away
missed
to
all
sea.
of that. But there's a branch of the Hand family who did. And one of them is viewing at the moment. Michael, I greet you over in Melbourne, in Australia. You constantly watch the show. But they were the actors in the family and the singers. And everybody comes up to me now and say, "Oh, we remember you when you were on the stage." I was never on the stage, ever. There's a confusion that's ongoing there.
Oh, accept it with good grace and pretend.
Oh yeah, just say yeah. No, but I would be better. I wouldn't want to be associated with.
You'd have a bigger ego.
Of course. But the Banbridge is a thriving kind of busy business town. Good things occur there. You have a golf society. You've got the freshwater mussel on your coat of arms there in Banbridge. But what kind of folk are they for going on stage? Are they good dramatists? Are they good musical performers?
Well, I think as a musical, directing them, I
Yeah.
think I would say as an overall, as a collective, the sum of the parts is really very, very good.
Yeah.
and they're not all confined to Banbridge town. Obviously, they're Banbridge and the district.
Yeah.
And there's some fine singers and some fine actors. So when pulling together, they can do terrific shows.
Okay. You have a piece of, what's the relevance now of the piece we're going to look at? You've sourced a little DVD for us.
Well, I think this, what you're going to see is Alfred Molina, a famous actor who played the part of Tevier in Fiddler on the Roof in Broadway, the production a few years ago. And apparently it was a very fine production. And that was a production, that was my first major production with Banbridge Musical Society. And I think that's why you chose that.
Yeah, I think one of the Fiddler on the Roofs that I loved, it was performed in Newry Town Hall.
I saw it.
The schoolmaster from Kilkeel was Tevier. Russell was his name.
Russell.
That was
yes.
his
Sam
third-
Russell.
Sam Russell, you got it.
Sam Russell.
Dead and gone now.
I saw that
He was
production.
fabulous there.
Yes, amazing. I
And
saw that production.
That's 40 years ago. It's 30 years ago.
30 something, yes.
Yeah,
because
that's
I
a
saw
long
it.
time ago.
Yes, I saw
I
that.
still
one.
remember that has stayed with me. So it was something similar here coming, and this is, you have taken this and you're doing it in Banbridge.
Well,
You've
we
done it.
we have done it.
You have done it in Banbridge. Andrew, may we run that, please?
A Fiddler on the Roof. This beloved musical has traveled all over the world, speaking to the hearts of millions of people, in many lands, in many languages. But if the people of Anatevka, whose story this is, belong anywhere, it's right here, on Broadway. And though Golda and Tevye and their daughters have traveled far, this year, a magical new production brings them vividly back to life, as if they never left. And if I may speak on their behalf, let me tell you, in a town where it's easy to be as precarious as a fiddler on the roof, it's good to be home. Sounds crazy, no? But in our little village of Anatevka, you might say every one of us is a fiddler on the roof. Trying to scratch out a pleasant, simple tune without breaking his neck, it isn't easy. You may ask, why do we stay up here if it's so dangerous? We stay because Anatevka is our home. And how do we keep our balance? One word: tradition!
wonderful. I tell
Fabulous
you.
stuff, isn't it?
That lets me. That's as good as it gets. It lets me. That in a 4-minute package defines the magic of theatre. It really does.
It's got
And
it
that
all.
on Broadway must have cost a fortune to do.
Yes,
Production
most
like that.
musicals cost fortunes.
Yeah.
Drama is much more straightforward. When it comes to musicals, you have to take into account, for example, the number of people even.
Yeah.
Sometimes in dramas you can have 3 to 4 people. In a musical it's usually 43
Yes,
plus,
yes,
and they all have to be costumed. There's props, there's music, there's the sound, microphoning, everything. So that's where a lot of the cost comes in.
Well, guys, I'm going to take you back from Broadway to Banbridge, B to B, Broadway to Banbridge. I have to ask you, how do you manage to fund your productions? Where do you get the money from?
We, because of the economic climate, it is very difficult. We do get most of our, of course, we don't, the box office doesn't cover the cost of a show, so we do fundraise extensively, and we are very fortunate that we do get some funding from the Arts Council.
For instance, now your last gig, whatever it might have been, how much did it cost to put on?
The
Me and My Girl.
Me and My Girl cost in the region of 26,000.
26,000.
Yes.
And how much of that did you to raise?
I would
The majority
say,
of it.
yes,
Majority
the
of it.
majority of it,
Majority
yes.
of it.
So,
I would have thought.
and you would have raised that in the course of a year, would you, going towards the production?
Well, fundraising is ongoing all the time.
yeah,
yes.
yeah. But it's people are generous then. They want to be involved in this.
Yes, we are. And
Well, I've noticed that their company in particular, they are ongoing all the time. They work tremendously hard
Yeah.
over the year.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, when they finish the show, for example, say it was April, that's the company sort of folded and stopped until maybe the following January, where they all start up again.
Yes, yeah.
Banbridge keeps going consistently over the year, and from what I can see,
Yeah.
and then they will work for the concerts. They will do a pantomime to raise money.
Yeah.
They will do further concerts and so on. They'll sing and Christmas services.
Yes.
Also, they'll even pack bags and Tesco's,
Ah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
anything at all.
And you're
that gets the money in for them
you're-
to do these shows.
You're getting a new Tesco in Banbridge, and Newry
believe.
Newry base company. Well, it's Lagan of Belfast. They're doing it, so it'll all be good there. But are you a kind of peripatetic director? Do you move around? And
Yes.
So you go where you're freelance.
Yeah.
You ride into town and do
And
your
do this-
business.
and
ride
ride out of
again.
town, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great image. I think it's a great image.
I've just done actually a Tipperary Musical Society.
Uh-huh.
I did HMS Pinafore down there.
So you went down and directed that.
I did
yeah.
that. So whoever wants me.
Ah, indeed. You must have a great well of experience and knowledge to be able to do these things. Do you have to provide the scripts, or do you go and sit down at a desk and the scripts are laid out in front of you? You have the raw material, and then I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, you come up with the concept for the production, how
Yes.
you're going to do it.
Yes, I would do the concept, and because I direct, I also choreograph as well.
Yeah.
So from the dancing point of view, and also the concept, seeing it from A to B, seeing in the overarching
Yeah.
view of the whole thing and how it should look and so on, sets.
Yeah, so that's your image.
That's the whole thing, yes.
Yeah.
But normally, when a company contacts you, they may have a short list of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 and say, well, what do you think? You've worked with us before. What do you think might suit us?
Yes.
And then we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
For example, so it's like Banbridge, they're discussing for next year. I mean, they think ahead.
Yes, of course.
So they're discussing what might suit for next year. So they'll be compiling a short list
Yeah.
which of things
But
that would be
you
suitable.
obviously, Leonard, you develop a relationship with them, but at the same time, you can take nothing for granted.
No.
Some new kid in the block might ride in and catch your attention.
Yes,
you know.
and then I'm off somewhere else. Then.
You're off
Yes,
somewhere. Is that the way it works?
That's the way it works.
You're
Yeah.
off to, it's a merry-go-round of wonderment. In doing this kind of work, how aware are you of the critics who are out there, who are watching the production, and by dint of watching the production, they're watching you? Can they make you or break you, and make or break
It's
a
not
production?
quite like that these days. It used to be, particularly so in maybe the West End or New York.
Yeah.
There was a guy called Rich in New
Yes.
York
He used
who
to
could, yes,
take them out,
savage.
ding.
He could have taken the show out overnight.
Yeah.
But it's not like that with the Association of Amateur Musical Societies. There is a critic who comes and gives his adjudication, and then there's an award ceremony
Yeah, yeah.
in June. Best actress, best performer, best show, this type of thing. But ultimately, it is one person's opinion.
Yeah, yes, of
and
course.
I think the more important thing for a company to be worried about is their audience. The
Yeah.
people who pay the money every year, put their bums in the seats,
Yeah.
and it's their supporters
Yeah.
who they should be catering for. Anything else is icing
Yeah.
on the cake.
Okay. Ian, do the Banbridge people flock to you, or have you difficulty getting them in?
We usually find at the start maybe ticket sales, but we do have good houses.
Yeah.
And the Banbridge
Where
people
would you
are.
perform?
The
You don't any
Ivy-
longer have the cinema.
No, but well, we have the Ivy.
The old,
movie,
well, the old,
yes.
what was the old cinema there? What
Oh, that was at the bottom of the
Yes.
town, the Ivy.
The Ivy.
Yes.
I brought Phil Coulter there to do one of his
Yes.
the last concert that ever occurred there, and he was great. We went and we did a nationwide program on RTE with him, and that was the beginning of the end of the Ivy. That
Well,
was it.
of course, we have the new Ivy Movie
Oh, yes, of
Studios
course,
in
yeah,
Banbridge,
yeah.
which has a purpose-built theatre.
Really, yeah.
With all we have a fly tower,
Yeah.
and we're very, very fortunate that it is up to a really good
Yeah.
standard, and it's relatively new. So we're very fortunate now.
Yeah, I wonder if, Newry's here with a rich tradition in theatre and musicals. You're in Banbridge with a rich tradition. Does ever the twain meet? Do you share ideas? Do you have a kind of social contact with each other?
We actually do, and I know that the Newry guys would come down to see our show.
Yeah.
We would go to see theirs, so we do have, and we know quite a few of the people in.
That's good. That's
and sometimes they would filter through onto our stage
Yes,
as
of
well.
course. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we have a really good relationship with
What
Newry
is it,
Musical
lads?
Society.
What is it that makes us so in awe of all of this thespianism, of all of this acting and all of this musicking? We're, we the three of us, we went, when we saw this come up on screen.
Yes.
Is it a desperate need to escape the angularity of reality, or what is it? Because once that music starts, once the curtain goes up, we're in another world. Have you ever been able to define that?
It is escapism. For those 2 hours, you're somewhere else. You've forgotten about all the cares and the woes.
Yeah.
And I think for some people, I always say to companies when I'm working with them, the audience, they should be looking at the stage. You're taking them out of themselves. They're looking at the stage thinking, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like them. You are, in their eyes, the experts and know what to do. If they were sitting there thinking, well, I could do that, well, then maybe you're not getting
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah, yeah.
So you are helping them to come out of their sort of little of their lives and
But
daily
yeah.
grind, as it were.
But conversely, you're there as an amateur grouping to say to them, hello, how are you? Do you fancy joining us? Or they say to you, I would love to try that. You're able to say, come and have a go. And you build new talent.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your nursery? Where do you get the new talent from?
The schools in the area, a lot of, particularly for the pantomime, we would have a big group of children on stage. So, and we actively like to encourage the young people to, that are coming on. Of course, they get to an age where they're off to university and
course,
you
of
lose them for a
course,
while. But
yeah.
some of them you get back, and we have a couple who have gone on to be professional actors and actresses as well. So
Ian, on a personal level, where did it all start for you? What was the moment of being starstruck for the first time?
a friend invited me to come along, and I started off in the chorus.
Yeah.
And I have to admit to being terribly timid and not very, and I enjoyed the coursework. And then I picked up a bit of courage and started
Yeah.
auditioning for roles. And
Yeah.
and there was a time when just the adrenaline, and I think it's the adrenaline on
Yeah.
stage that you just, there's no feeling like
Yeah,
it,
like
quite
it.
like it.
How do you work in roles? To what extent have you a little bit of artistic freedom? I find if I write a script, have a script, and read the script, it's not good. But if I know the general parameters of where I'm going in it, I can then rock and roll through it and turn it out in my way. And if my way is not good enough, it shouldn't be there. You sack me. Do you stick rigidly to the words in the script, or do you have the kind of freedom I'm talking about?
During a musical, yes, we generally would stick very much to the script, unless our director says otherwise.
Yeah.
But my favourite, well, not my favourite role, but I would, during panto season, I would be the panto dame.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
And I love it because of the interaction with the audience.
Yes, of course.
And you can, you know, come off script
Ah, yeah. on
whenever
those
it's
occasions,
suitable and
yeah.
interact with
You could ad-lib
various.
there, yeah.
You can ad lib.
Yeah.
So that for me is sort of a form of escapism
Indeed.
as well. You know, you can.
You can't
Yeah.
do that much, you see, in a musical.
No,
because
you
other
can't.
people are relying on
depending on
you
what you're going
Yes.
to
what
say.
you're going
Yes.
to say,
Yeah.
and that can throw
Yeah.
the whole thing into chaos.
But having said that, an intelligent ad lib is better than dead air.
Oh yeah, well, if it
That's
comes up,
true.
well, we always
Yes.
hope that they won't have dead air.
yeah,
We always hope they have learned
Yeah.
it well enough that
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
Absolutely. So where did it start for you, sir?
Oh goodness, so many years ago,
I reckon it
cannot
might be, yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Uh,
Where are you from?
would you believe originally Scarva, which is
Yeah.
also down the road,
That's a lovely part of the world.
and then I lived in
Niall was
Belfast
there.
for a while.
Yeah.
And that's where I started with Belfast Operatic Company.
Yeah.
And then I moved across to choreographing and directing. And that is where I saw the present show that we're going to do, Titanic.
Oh, yes.
We're calling it Titanic Serenade.
Yeah.
And I had seen the Bart Players do it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, it must be 27, 30 years ago. But it was written by Stuart Love, who had also broadcast as well. And he had written it for a schools programme. And it was a shortened version. And then I think it was Ken Powles from the Bart Players had said to him, we like that. If you wrote it as a full-length play,
Yes.
we would do it. So he agreed, they did it. And then a couple of years ago, it's been in my mind a couple of years ago, I've done it as a play. And even as a play, there's little bits of music in it.
Yeah. But the
And I've
Serenade
done
takes
that.
it further.
Yeah, this takes it further. And I thought it'd be a great idea. And I said to them, why don't we contact Stuart and have it rewritten as a musical?
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
can research the music, put in
Yeah.
music of the period.
And were you asking him to rewrite it, or were you asking his permission for you to rewrite
Well,
it?
no. Basically, he jumped on the bandwagon really quickly. And he's absolutely delighted to be involved in this and support it. And so he said, no, I'd rewrite that, no problem
Yeah.
for you. And in fact, has done 2 rewrites for us.
Really?
Yes,
That's a
very
big,
keen.
That's a big thing. That's a
Yes,
big do.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
And he came up for the auditions, and which was great to have the playwrights sitting in
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
auditions. And then myself and the musical director, we've written a couple of new songs for it, and we've researched songs of the period
Yeah.
that we think fit in the appropriate
Yeah,
places.
yes.
So it's totally new. It's an experiment, of course.
And not
but-
entirely nearer my God to thee.
Well, we
from
do
the
have that
scene.
one.
Oh, you would have, of
We
course.
have that at
Yeah.
the end.
But I mean, you'd expect that.
You expect that.
But I mean, what other songs Titanic related? Is it the love story of the boy and the girl?
No, no.
None of-
This is very different. People might think about that or relate
Yeah.
it to the film. It's not like that at
Yeah.
all. The first act is based in Belfast, about the building of the
building,
Titanic,
yeah.
and but gives us a flavour, more importantly, of what life was like in that period.
Yes,
because a lot
yes.
of people wouldn't know, and so I would say it's more a flavour of the era, with the Titanic being built, and we get to learn rather than have it as a history lesson, we get to learn snippets of it as we go along.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the second act, it's set on the ship, and there also is the use of a narrator, who actually is played by a Newry lad, Anthony Fitzpatrick, and he is Harry, and he is what you would call almost like a voiceover.
Yeah.
And he gives us information about the Titanic as the passengers are going about their daily business on board the ship. So there are no surprises, as we know,
Yeah.
as to how it ends.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's the process
Yeah.
through music, the song, dance.
And what are the kind of symphonic elements of it, where you're linking the music in? There's no possibility of it being somewhat artificial. Or what's your vision
Well,
for that unity of music and drama?
It can be quite difficult, but when the script is very good, so that helps you to place music.
Yes.
And so it seems logical at that point, well, this might occur.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's
yes, yes.
so that helps, and so it adds to the drama. And we've also got the musical director Colin Lockhead to underscore. I quite like a lot of underscoring.
What do you mean by underscoring?
Well, it means basically you're giving a speech.
Yeah.
You're talking, and there's music playing underneath.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So for me, I find it very atmospheric.
Yeah, it is indeed.
It can be very atmospheric, as long as the music is obviously of the period and it's the right choice of music
Yes.
to suit the mood.
Yeah.
And I think we've managed to achieve that.
I think
on
we have,
Monday night's
yes.
rehearsal, we had it really for the first time, and I think we managed to achieve that at the moment.
Ennio Morricone comes to mind, the great musical man of
That's
film tracks.
from
Wonderful.
He
He did all of that stuff, the Clint Eastwood stuff and all the rest of it. There's so many of it. You know so much of it.
I
But
think
anyway,
that that's the atmosphere.
Yeah, it does,
as
of
well
course.
for
It
an
does, of
audience,
course.
and it
Yeah.
does give them the mood of what's happening. It's like, I suppose it's a bit like this old silent movies.
Yeah.
When you watch silent movies,
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
tapping the
Yeah.
piano.
Yeah.
Yes, when you saw
Keystone
that.
Cops and whatever.
Yeah.
So when is the production coming around? When are we going to see it?
13th, is it?
13th of May,
Of May. So we're a month away.
running to the 17th of May, and we
Yeah.
have a Saturday matinee as well.
Yeah. And David, you or Ian, we're into the last month. Does it become more and more and more frenetic for your people?
Yes, it does. You have more rehearsal. You have publicity-wise, certainly. This is
Yeah.
now the big push.
This is a big push now. Yeah.
You tend to live and breathe it eventually.
Yes,
for
you
the last
do
month.
indeed.
I mean, you have to
Yeah.
really.
Well, what we'll do here is we'll repeat this interview with you about a fortnight before it occurs, and maybe
lovely.
you would come back again and do a live 5 minutes with us, just updating on the sales.
that'd be
and all
lovely.
that, and pushing it. And in the meantime, take this interview and put it on your site and promote it like
Thank
video.
you very much, Bruno.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. We wish you well. What dates again? Tell them what dates are we on?
Tuesday, the 13th of May, running through to Saturday, the 17th of May.
And how do people get tickets?
If they contact Ive Movie Studios, the box office, they
In
can
in
Banbridge, they
in
can purchase
Banbridge.
it from them.
And sure, the way you guys are going in Banbridge, it's most assuredly sometime, perhaps soon, going to be from Banbridge to Broadway.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
If only, Ronan.
Oh,
That would be the
Wouldn't
job.
that be super?
would be the job. I had a great. I went to Liam didn't do it for me, but Andrew Sachs did. It was a documentary I was doing on the life of Roderick O'Connor, the Irish artist, and we had wanted Liam to do it, and went over to talk to him in Broadway, and he was going to do it. It was a presentational job rather than an acting job in it, but he wanted to do it. It was before Schindler's List, and then he went down with a viral kind of bronchial thing, and he wanted to preserve his voice for then. But it was lovely being in Broadway with him on the night that Barbara Streisand came in to greet him, and with Barbara there, he said, "Look, I've got to go now. It's her birthday today, and I need to do this, that, and the other." But the thing I loved about Broadway was you managed to go out to dinner and theatre on the one night, and it was a wonderful experience. So without Liam, we were stuck. We didn't know who to get, and we fetched up upon the shore of Andrew Sachs. Lovely man, great voice, wonderful presentation of the event. So that was great. So I do love Broadway, and
Yes,
it's
I've been,
it's a wonderful experience. So from Banbridge, that's maybe the name of your next music.
yes,
From
Banbridge,
Banbridge
back
to
to
Broadway.
Broadway.
Banbridge to Broadway.
Has a certain ring.
It has a ring to it, of course it has. It
Your
has.
new concert.
Yes.
Yeah, Banbridge to Broadway. Yeah, in Banbridge town, in the county.
Oh,
down
everybody
one
know-
morning,
everywhere I go, people
and then
sing
you
that to
start
me.
that, and then you come in with something from America. That would all be nice. Yeah, guys, thank you very, very much indeed for
thank
coming.
you.
Not at all.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Ronan.
Take care, and we'll talk to you later, coming closer to the
Yes,
event.
indeed.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. Our final music, please.